hello, my Let's Talk family. Once again, thank you for joining us. I am your host, Regina Smithwick, and this is Let's Talk Business Spotlight Edition. Once again, we have been blessed and honored to have another great guest. I want you to welcome Donna Tashjian to our show this evening, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things that she has going on, as well as uh, certain techniques that we can use to help us be able to live a better life. So, as you know, we're always here to empower, uplift, and motivate our audience. So, we have another person going to help us do that. So, Donna, welcome to Let's Talk.
Thank you, Regina. It's my pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here. So we'll go ahead and just dive on into this. So let's start off with what really caught me when I saw your bio was when you had said about your turning your baggage into luggage. So let's talk about that real quick.
Yes, one of my passions is to help people to rise above the pain and disappointments of life so that we can actually live a life we love. And so I have workshops that I do, as well as a coaching program called Turn Your Baggage into Luggage. And the idea behind it is, I think you get it. Baggage is stuff we drag around that's, perhaps even smelly. It's just not good. And then luggage, on the other hand, is somewhere where I'm going to take a trip, and it's great and it's wonderful. But the key is how do I get from the baggage to the luggage?
Right.
It's how do I get from the pain and frustration and anger and disappointment and loss, all of this stuff, to be able to get to luggage? And that's a question I get asked a lot. It's like, so how do you do that? Well, it isn't as you expected. It isn't a step into a magic booth and I step out and everything's all better.
We wish.
We wish everything was microwavable and it was just presto. But one of the main keys with baggage thinking, if I use that analogy, is we get stuck in the why. We get stuck in somebody needs to pay. We get stuck in the anger and the bitterness and the frustration, and this is not fair, and this is not right, and this is not just. And I know about all of that personally in a really big way, but we can get stuck there. And when I switch from that to luggage thinking, I say things like, I can't change what happened to me, and I can stay angry and frustrated forever, or I can use it to grow and strengthen and become a better me than I was before. It is a component of looking for a gift in the middle of it. I call it gifts wrapped in sandpaper. It's not fun or pretty.
I never heard it that way, but that's a good analogy. Very good.
But looking for the gift and the growing in it. And I have 4 steps to do that. Would you like me to share that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So the first step is what I said, begin to look for the gift. Just the idea that I can find a gift in the middle of some really horrendous things lifts my perspective. It shifts so that I see things that I wouldn't have saw before. So that's number 1.
Okay.
Number 2, keep a bigger picture in mind. For example, if your life was a book, don't let that, whatever that is, be your whole book. Let it be a page, a paragraph, perhaps a chapter, but not your whole book. So understand that this doesn't have to be a forever thing. And we can use these to overcome any adversities that we face. Number 3 is begin to have compassion for others, maybe for yourself as well, because a lot of times we've made mistakes that we're angry at ourselves for. Sometimes forgiving ourselves is the hardest part of it. And so learning what forgiveness really is and what forgiveness isn't. I've heard it said that unforgiveness is like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies or it hurts them.
Oh, yeah. That sounds...
And it doesn't.
But we think so sometimes.
We do, and we feel that way. So I talk a lot about, I have a whole episode that I do about forgiveness and what it is and what it isn't, and help us to understand it more, because it's hard sometimes. It feels like a hard concept to grasp and to do. So that's
Mm-hmm.
number 3. Number
Mm-hmm.
4 in the step is get support, get help,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is. This thing that when we're in pain, how we isolate ourselves and withdraw, is like, get support and help, whatever that looks like, counselor, coach, friends, but don't do it alone. So those are 4 seemingly simple but very profound steps to go from baggage to luggage.
Wow. And I just want to touch on a couple real quick that I wrote down because I'm learning as everybody else will be too. What really hit me when you said is someone needs to pay. That's a lot of people's analogies or concepts or their mindsets of, if you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. And I'm going to feel better. And what people don't really realize is, like you said, instant gratification, microwavable. It's like right then you feel better because you feel like you did something to them. But in the long term, you're still going to feel the same way you felt before you hurt them, right? Nothing's changing on your end. You just making more collateral damage now because you're adding something else to this puzzle that don't need to be added. So that really touched me too when you said that. And the gift wrapping in the sandpaper, because the gift is inside, but to get inside, you're gonna have to get a little bruised up a little bit, and that's kind of facing your fears. You're facing who you are, learning who you are. So yeah, you may get a little rubbing on the sandpaper to get into that beautiful gift that's waiting for you inside. I love that. I'm gonna have to use that one. That's a great analogy. I like that one. And then the page you were talking about, the page.
Yep.
Um, we do make things bigger than what they are. Okay, at the moment, you feel like that's it. You feel like that's all you're about that moment. From anyone who made mistakes to people who substance abuse or, any kind of drugs, or you think that's who you are. And that's just a little page out of the life that you have that's called the book. So, I
Yes.
mean, you have some great, I hope that the audience is getting this and writing this down like I did, because these and this is just a little snippet of what she offers. This is not even the tip of the iceberg, but just the ones that she gave us, nice little freebie she gave us, could change your life. These things will really change your life, especially that support part. We do that when we get into something. What was the first thing we do? I didn't want to talk to nobody. I was home. They stay home for weeks at a time, or days at a time, and they're like, I didn't want to bother nobody with my problem. I'm going to deal with it myself. Well, obviously you can't. That's why you're in the house by yourself. You can't do it by yourself. It just makes sense to me. Why are you thinking you're doing it? So sitting there was wasting time. Sitting by yourself is not selling the problem. It's still there.
It's not.
So a lot of people do that, right?
Yep, absolutely. One of the things when you talked about making somebody pay, and what we always have to remember is that everyone reaps what they sow sooner or later. And I have to think about whether I want to sow my revenge, if I want that reaped back. Because everybody, including the person that hurt us or situation or whatever it was that hurt us, they're going to reap what they sow sooner or later as well. As my mom said, I grew up in the South. My mom said, your chickens always come home to roost. Yes, they come to their own place. Yeah, I heard that. So I have to remember that when I'm going to make somebody pay, that I'm going to reap that back. And I have to choose what I want my book of life to look like. What's the kind of person that I want to be? Do I want to be a person who gives tit for tat? Or do I want to be a person who is at peace and joy and all in confidence?
That peace is so important. I think as I got older, I really value my peace now. I understand that it's not really worth trying to win every war, every battle. The battle is to let it go. And if they feel like they won, so be it. As long as I have that peace and I'm not worried about anything or nothing is on me, it's so worth it. And when you get to that point in life, you'll understand that peace is worth more than money. I mean, just to have that on you. So that's very, very important. I know that you have another, I guess, topic that you discuss or you help people with is life by design, but not by default. You wanted to touch on that, Donna?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So many times, would you agree that you have felt, I know I have, that we're at the mercy of our circumstances?
Mm-hmm.
It's like whatever's happening to me is going to determine whether I'm happy, sad, prosperous, or poor, or all of
Mm-hmm.
it. It's like I'm just at the whim of whatever's going on in the world and everything. Life
Mm-hmm.
by design is beginning to take that thought back, and that I can create my world. For example, you creating peace in your world wasn't because everybody around you is all of a sudden just getting along. It was because you chose that on the inside you were going to be at peace.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's true.
that changed your world, even though there might be stuff that's still not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Makes a lot
So
of sense.
learning how to create a life that I want from the inside out instead of thinking the outside in is going to
Mm-hmm.
make me happy or not. And I teach it through there's six gifts or superpowers that we possess that we may be aware of, but it's kind of like using a knife the wrong way. We know about it, but we're not using it right, and we cut ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they were mad about the knife when it was really our operation of the knife, if that makes sense. And
Our
so it's
technique.
learning that. And then I also get into 13 laws of the spirit and the way that the way that the world is set up to be able to
Mm-hmm.
operate. So it is a faith-based program, but I love to be able to share because no matter where you are, you can begin to learn and apply it. So, a couple of the superpowers, you'll probably recognize a couple of them, but
Okay.
let's talk about imagination.
Okay.
Imagination is one of our gifts or superpowers that we possess as human beings. But
Mm-hmm.
so many of the time, we use our imagination to imagine the worst happening.
Mm.
Okay, what child, who listening has had a child that were supposed to be home at a certain time and they're not? What's your imagination doing?
Mm-hmm.
And we're imagining worst
Worse.
case scenarios, as if imagining the worst case scenario was going to help me prepare for it. And it
Mm.
doesn't work like that. So that's one example of using imagination to worry and fear and what ifs and preparing for the worst. We're still imagining, we're just not imagining the way that it was designed to be used. And that is picturing, what if it worked out right? What if
Right.
everything was fine? And I get a lot more into it, but that's an idea. Your thoughts
So,
about that?
yes, question. Imagination. Is that a way of manifestation? Manifesting wrong or bad things? If you think of like your thoughts turn into things. So if you think about you're imagining the worst, could that be something that you're bringing on yourself instead of you thinking like the positive of it somewhat?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, that is true. What your thoughts are reproduce, and you attract like attracts alike. So if
Okay.
I am fearing, if I'm expecting, if I'm thinking that people are going to disrespect me or treat me bad or maybe reject me,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have a different perspective and attitude when I walk in a room.
You're gonna attract that to you.
And I attract people, or I perceive it even if they didn't mean it.
Oh, that's good.
They may
That's
have not meant it that way, but like if I said, "Where'd you get that dress?" and you hear, "What's wrong with this dress?" and that's not what I said, but that's what I heard because I already wondered if I looked all right. Do you see what I mean? It's like we
yes.
perceive and we attract, we hear the way our filter is. And as I begin to clean my filter, then I can be
Mm-hmm.
able to see that you actually wanted to know because you'd like one too, kind of a
Yeah.
thing. Does that make
That
sense?
happens a lot. That happens a lot. That's assumptions. And when you go in,
Yes.
um, going in assuming that, or even if it, like you said, reflects off of how you feel about yourself, or how you feel about another person that you maybe didn't address something and you already had them on this high alert. So every time you deal with them, you just find something that got nothing to do with nothing, but you find it just to have a reason to be upset with them. And just like
Yep.
how you said about the dress, she was probably was like, I really want to know because I like it. You'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
well, what's wrong with my dress? Like nothing. I just asked where you got it from because I like it. But if you like that person, you wouldn't even thought of it that way. You'd be like, oh,
Yes.
girl, this guy from da 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 da, and you
Mm-hmm.
would just answer the question without no hesitation. But because that makes Donna, you know what? That makes so much sense. Because I think that a lot of times that's why people sometimes go, "What's your problem? What's going on?" She just asked you, like, "No, she did. Y'all ain't hear her." She said, "Like, no, you the only one that heard. You're the only one that heard it that way. We heard her ask you where you get the dress from. That's it. She didn't say nothing else to you." So
Yep.
that does make, and that kind of tells you that you need to deal with that underlying problem with her or with yourself or whatever the case is. That's the communication part that we a lot of us do not have or don't
Yeah.
know how to utilize or use that skill set to
Yes.
communicate in the proper way.
Absolutely.
Good point, Donna. I like that. I like that. So seeing that all these programs and these systems that you have, so tell us, how would a person contact you, or what services do you actually offer? Like what packages you actually offer?
I have a lot of free gifts on my website, which you can
Mm-hmm.
see in the banner. And there are free books, free resources. I have a podcast, which is there available to. It's an inspirational podcast, so that is available. The other thing I have is a turn your baggage into luggage free workshop. It's about every other month. And so that will be listed on my website when that is available, and you can
Mm-hmm.
attend absolutely free. All you got to do is sign
Wow.
up. And so that is on Zoom. It's
Mm-hmm.
online, it's virtual. So wherever you are in the world, you can attend. And so you just click on the workshop tab and find out the dates and get signed up. The other thing I provide is life mastery coaching. I'm a life mastery coach. And so I have different coaching programs that are available.
Okay.
And if you feel like you would need some support or you want to get to know me more and learn more, schedule a call with me. That is also on my website under the schedule tab. Schedule a conversation. Let's chat. If I'm not the right fit to find the resources for you, I know so many people and I'll find it for you. I have been an entrepreneur and business owner for 30 plus years. So
Wow.
I understand. And I have one of my mentors says she has a PhD in the School of Hard Knocks. And so I know how not to do it. And I've learned how to do it, how to have a successful, happy, amazing life. And I want to help other people do the same.
That's beautiful right there. That's enough. Just to, a lot of us want it, but like you said from the beginning of our talk, a lot of times people want it, but they don't know how to get it. And it seems simple. You say, I want to live a nice, peaceful life. It sounds simple, right?
Right.
But obviously it's not as simple as it sounds
No.
because a lot of us don't know how to possess it or even get on the right road to get to it.
Right.
So Donna is one of the type of people that could be able to assist and help you get on that road of peace and freedom. And like she said, she's been living his life for over 3 decades, so she could tell you exactly how to take that road. So I would definitely recommend Donna. One thing about Let's Talk is I always make sure I bring people up here that could instantly help you. Like in Matt, as soon as you talk to them, they could get you going on the path or wherever you want to go. And
Absolutely.
I really believe in that. So that's why we are here to help others live that good life. So, Donna, is there anything else you wanted to tell us before we end the interview today?
No,
Any
nothing specific. I think that we've covered a lot of good things and tips to help people.
Mhm.
Just remember, don't do this alone. That's one of the things entrepreneurs do
Mhm.
is we try to do everything. And even in learning how to find resources and help to be able to help us fulfill, because most of us got a vision or a dream that's bigger than we can ever accomplish. And
Oh
what is
yeah.
going on the inside affects
Mhm.
what's going on the outside. So let's get in alignment with who you really were created to be. And I would
Mhm.
love to talk to you.
Perfect. Well, Donna, just hold on for 1 second. And then what I would like to do is go ahead and let the audience know. Thank you once again for joining us on Let's Talk, the Business Spotlight Edition. And if you have any kind of business or service that you would like to be recognized on this platform, please contact me. You can contact me at Let's Talk 1943. It's right here. You can subscribe to our Facebook channel, our IG, and our YouTube channel. Please subscribe, and you could contact us at all those platforms. So please just reach out and we could do this. We could do this business spotlight for you as well. So once again, Donna, thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time, y'all have a good day.